Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a little piece of engineering genius that you've probably seen a million times but never really noticed. It's a way of joining metal that's so strong, so perfect, it's practically unbreakable.
So, let's start with a puzzle. It's one that master roofers figured out a long time ago. How in the world do you connect two pieces of metal, make them completely waterproof, and super strong without using any screws or welds on the surface? The answer? Well, it's surprisingly elegant and it's all about the fold.
So how'd they do it? The secret is a special technique. Now, it has a pretty technical name, but the idea behind it, it's brilliantly simple. See, this isn't about brute force. It's about pure geometry.
And here it is, the double-locked standing seam. In Russian, it's called dvойной лежачий фалц. It's a method for joining metal sheets, or kartini, as they're called in the source material, to create those beautiful, seamless metal roofs. This joint doesn't just resist the weather, it totally outsmarts it.
And let's be clear, this isn't just about looking good. The whole point is to create a barrier against wind and water that's just fundamentally better. A seam this strong, this tight, it means your roof isn't just going to last a few years. It could last a lifetime.
Okay, so all of this talk of precise metal folding might sound a little intimidating, right? Well, let's just forget about metal for a minute. We're going to break this down using something we all get: paper.
And hey, even the source material admits this can be tricky. They say that at first, it's really hard to wrap your head around, that the diagrams can feel like they're totally upside down. But don't worry, there's a way to skip all that confusion.
And this, right here, is the game changer.
You could try the hard way, memorizing a ton of measurements and directions. Or you could do it the smart way. Use a vykroika, which is a pattern, to make a shablon, a reusable template. It's the difference between guessing and, well, knowing you got it right. Think of this shablon, this template, as your personal cheat code for getting it perfect. You just lay it down on the metal, you mark your points, and that's it. All the guesswork, all the chances for error, they just disappear. So let's look at the pattern itself. You'll see that you don't need to be a math genius. There are just a few key numbers that you need to know to make this incredible seam. And it all starts from one single line right down the middle.
The first magic number is 41 millimeters. This is your starting block. From the center line where the two sheets of metal will meet, you measure out 41 millimeters on each piece. Now, this isn't some random number. That specific distance is the secret ingredient. It gives you the perfect amount of material for the two sheets to overlap and lock together just right.
Okay, next up, 13 millimeters. Once you got that 41 millimeter mark, you measure back towards the edge to mark your first fold line. This fold is absolutely critical. It's going to form the first part of the hook that holds everything together.
And the last number you need to know is 18 millimeters. This line is for your second fold. And that's it. Seriously, just those three numbers, 41, 13, and 18. That's all the math you need to create the two interlocking pieces of this super strong mechanical lock.
But wait, before we start folding, there's one small but super important cut you have to make. You need to snip out these tiny triangular sections from the corners, called carmani or pockets. If you don't, the metal will bunch up when you fold it and create a weak spot. It's a tiny little detail that makes all the difference.
All right, our metal sheets are marked up perfectly. They're prepped and ready to go. Now comes the fun part. It's time to actually make the two simple bends that create the entire locking system.
And you won't believe how simple the process is. It's literally just two steps. First, you bend along that 13 millimeter line you drew. Then you make your second bend along the 18 millimeter line. That is all it takes to make the two perfect halves of the seam.
Now, here's where the real craftsmanship comes in, and we've got 3 pro tips for you. First, that bottom piece needs to be bent to a perfect 90-degree angle. Second, you can use a simple piece of a PVC corner as a guide to get a super crisp fold on the top piece. And my favorite tip of all, add 1 extra millimeter to the bend. Just 1. That tiny gap lets the metal rise up and lock into place smoothly without getting stuck. Okay, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's watch as these two carefully prepped pieces come together to create that unbreakable seam. It's so satisfying.
I mean, just look at the elegance of this design. The top piece just hooks right over the bottom one, and it slides into place like a key going into a lock.
That creates your first really solid connection.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material. It's such a great reminder that becoming a master at anything is a process. They actually show trainees making mistakes because that's how people really learn. It's basically an invitation saying, hey, come learn with us, try it yourself, and you know what? Maybe you'll do it even better.
So once the pieces are hooked together, there's one last move. A final crimp with a special tool closes the seam up tight. That's the double lock. And what you're left with is an incredibly strong, totally clean, and completely watertight seal. No screws, no glue, just beautiful, clever engineering.
So there you have it. The secret to the unbreakable seam isn't some kind of magic. It's just a process. A really complex-looking craft that's been broken down into a few simple, manageable steps. It really makes you wonder, what other amazing skills out there just seem complicated, but are really just waiting for someone to break them down?